Welcome, everybody. Welcome to Make It Make Sense. I'm your host, Monique Pressley, and I am so thankful for you joining us. As always, where we try to do exactly what the title says, make it make sense. So many things are just nonsense and noise and full of rhetoric without many facts. So we want to give you the who, the what, the where, the when, the why. And yeah, we give you plenty of expert opinion, expertise, etc., and so on. So we still do plenty of that, but we try to make it count and try to talk about the subjects that matter the most to all of us. And that's how to be a better, thriving, not just surviving human in your town, in your city, in your county, your community, your state, this country, the world. How can we be better global citizens? By taking care of our health. Hopefully you all saw yesterday's show. We had Dr. Richard Benson, and he is at NIH, and he is the head of the part of the organization that is in charge of racial disparities and racial inequity in the health field. And we were talking about World Hypertension Day, which was yesterday. But it is also Black Men's Health Month. And so he gave lots of great information that impacts us. But today is Wellness Wednesday, and we're going to do it again. And I am so excited. I see the guest. Make a request, guest. I'm going to post my little post. That's all I have to say about today. And I have a guest with us that I am super, super excited to have, that I've wanted to have ever since we started doing Wellness Wednesday. She was somebody who was at the top of my mind. I've known her a super long time, and I am so thankful for her. And if you see in the chat, can you all please welcome Donna Richardson to Make It Make Sense? I will do a request for you.
Hello.
Oh, there she is.
Hi, how are you? Happy Thursday.
Is it Thursday? We're doing Wellness Wednesday on a Thursday. Yeah, we are. No, we're actually just doing two in a row. We did Wellness Wednesday yesterday, but you were my original Wellness Wednesday for today. So I'm having Wholeness Thursday to follow our Wellness Wednesday. And I put in the pinned comment, the queen is here because it's the truth. I'm not going to read your whole introduction, but I'm going to read some of it because I just don't know. It's young folks, middle folks, old folks on here, and you have been around decades helping us live better lives, Sister Donna, helping us live better, thriving lives. So I really want everyone to welcome best-selling author, international motivational speaker, TV host, Donna Richardson. And she has been spreading good health, and I know it, mind, body, and spirit for 30 years. Yes, that's exactly right, because I've been benefiting. And you've traveled, 50 states, 50 countries, and 6 continents, empowering, educating, and energizing women, children, and families. And then,
Yes.
as if you hadn't done all the things and all the things and all the things
Right.
in the middle of a freaking pandemic. You're a beautiful mom.
Yes.
Who had been blessing families and friends with your legacy recipe, right? With your legacy recipe for Mama Laverne's chicken and waffles. It's in the mass marketing.
Yes.
You know what? It speaks so much to the power of God.
Yes.
And to the we're not finished until we're done.
Right.
And as long as we're breathing. But before we even get into any of that, I want to thank you for something that isn't on the bio, but is another way that I know for the past over 2 years, you've been blessing many a sister girl, because in the Sunday night calls for the women, for the Black women in power, for Black Women United, where we all come together and rally around causes, come in our individual capacity, putting down the government jobs and the important gigs and corporate gigs and the business gigs and everything, and coming together to stand up for each other. You would get us moving.
Yes.
Because because we can't be so in our brains and so about the work and so about whatever that we don't remember to breathe, that we don't remember to get up and stretch and move. And sometimes when you would start, Donna, that would be the first time I had walked away from my desk or from my whatever for the day. And I was like, oh, yeah, I have a baby.
And we got to take care of our temple, right?
Yeah. So welcome in all your capacities. Welcome, Queen. Thank you so much. What's going on? What's new with you?
It's just been, when I think back to 30 years ago when I started in health and fitness, and there were nobody in the industry that looked like me. But I think me already being a person that faced fear or faced change and did it anyway, it allowed me to obviously travel the world as a master certification specialist, which means that you certify trainers, coaches, and teachers to teach fitness and health. But in doing all that traveling, I realized that my greatest challenge was always back home, because I would come back and there's family members suffering and passing away, or I go to the church and the sick and shut-in list is too long now to read, or just in the neighborhood, we're going to people's homes and we're praying and we're talking about, the changes they have to make just to stay alive. So I realized in that moment that, yes, it was great to travel the world, but it was more important to focus in on, we had a problem, and we still do in the African American community, but you have to have a solution. You have to come to the table with ways that are going to help African American families, women in general to take better care of their body, which is their temple. And so that became my purpose, my passion for 30 years. And what's so interesting is, yes, being on ESPN, co-hosting the show, and being the first African American on a videotape, Buns of Steel. And by the way, I don't have Buns of Steel anymore. I have Buns of AARP, and it's all good. Really interesting is, here we are 30 years later, and I received a call and an email 2 weeks ago, and I'm going to be receiving the World Lifetime Jack LaLanne Award from the International Dance and Exercise Association for lifetime work that I've done. And I'm telling you, I'm very honored and I'm excited, but I'm humble, because I think in all these years, what it did teach me is to be a good servant. And it's no different now. So I'm excited. That's going to be July 13th. And it's in Los Angeles at the World Conference. And so I always say, you always have to remember that, yes, you have a plan, but you got to follow God's plan, and sometimes it does get tough, but you have to stay focused and be obedient and be intentional. My mom and I have this business now. Every day is about God. It's grit. It's being grateful. It's, having grace to do what we do at age 60, and she's 83 years old, right? And so here we are again, or here I am, continuing that thought process of, you know what? You can come from nothing to something. You can come from a deficit to a profit. And we know with God, all things are possible. So here we take what seemed impossible to possible during the middle of a pandemic, when everything shut down. Mom can't travel. People were calling so she could do chicken and waffles and bless them and have love in their hearts and in their bellies. But it shut us down. I couldn't do the motivational speaking and help people get in, good health and get fit and finer. So we were shut down. And during that shutdown, we actually started a business. She couldn't get out there to the people. There was a demand for her product. So here we are, because Black women, ingenuity, we started mixing the flour, putting it in Ziploc bags and mailing it with the recipe. Then where I live at in Dallas, we established a love pickup where we'd actually cook the food, put it in a package, and sit it outside the door. And so that was how we solved the problem of her not being able to get out there, but the demand kept growing. And from that is how we established this business, launched 2 years ago from today. And that's been, you know, I'm going to be honest, this has been a labor of love, because when you get older, like I still got it, Monique, but girl, my recovery time is slower. I can take.
You know what, Donna? I'm gonna let you go ahead and say that, and I believe you because I know I earned my 52. But I just saw you last week.
Yeah,
I'm here to tell the people who was seeing her and thinking maybe this is some pretty screenshot. Now she's still head to toe looking like lean and fighting weight and the energy that matches it. And it is a joy to see, because really, like everything that you just said, first of all, necessity is the mother of invention.
yes.
And I don't know nobody who figures out how to get it done in the crunch like a Black woman. I just don't. The way
That. But think about the past. We stand on shoulders of very strong, resilient, courageous, relentless women. So that's just sewn into us, you know? You figure out what your passion, what your purpose is. My pastor, Bishop T.D. Jakes, once said, and I always remember this, I have to think about it daily. He says, being persistent will get you there, and being relentless is how you get there. But he said, when you are grateful, it will increase what's there. So praise the Lord that every day you got to come out fighting.
How do you get there, Donna? That's what I wanted to ask you, because, you know, it's one thing. We look at some people who are doing really well right now. And I mean, and it seems like they just popped on the scene. Usually they didn't, though. There's always work below the surface. But there's a difference between that and somebody like you, who has had consistency, longevity, relentlessness, and success over decades. Like, what is the secret sauce? Because you said being relentless will get you there. And I know there's somebody watching or somebody who's doing this is going to say, I don't even feel relentless. I feel tired.
You have to develop inside you. Like I always say, you cannot conquer what you're not committed to moving forward. Think about that. You cannot conquer what you're not committed to moving forward. I have stumbled. I have fallen. I've been turned down with this new business. I have suffered anxiety, depression, loneliness, made lots of sacrifices, had no after no after no, not getting support sometimes from your family, from your friends, but I kept going. I kept getting back up. And I think it comes to changing the mindset. That's so important. Like nothing will change. I don't care what your goal is. Nothing will change until you change here. And here's what I used to tell people when I help them with health and fitness, and even as an entrepreneur, you have to want to change more than you want to stay the same, or you'll sit right there. There has to be, like, when you think, what you think determines what you do. Mm-hmm. So if you're thinking of what you used to do and how you used to do it, that doesn't apply for now. We're in a different time. We're facing different challenges. When I think back to the pandemic and God shut the whole world down, we had no idea what we were going to do or how we were going to do it. A lot of us were forced to change. Think about it. We were forced to maybe start a new career. We were forced to maybe do something different, not working in an office, but working from home. We had to make that change, but make it without fear. You had to just face it and do it anyway. Yeah. And so it comes back to what you're thinking. Your mindset has everything to do with it. And I am so honored to be at the Potter's House under Bishop T.D. Jakes. He is a disruptive thinker, right? He has impacted the world. He has transformed lives. He has helped to elevate humanity. Yes. So studying under him for years, you can't help but be a disruptive thinker. you can't help but to take that knowledge and expertise that he's sowing into you constantly, from into your soul, into your spirit. And here we are with his new book. He has been such a supporter. He's prayed with us. He has just challenged us to be the greatest that we can be in this new business that we're doing. And on page 231, he shared my story. Yep. And I'm hoping that it inspires people. Like, it doesn't matter what you are. It doesn't matter what your circumstances are. It doesn't matter what your past has been. Look at my mother, 83 years old. She started the business at 81 years old. She says you're never too old to start something new. And so I look at that and I go, wow, where did that come from for me? Because yes, that's my pastor. He's a disruptive thinker. But guess what? My mom is too. My mom, she worked at a department store, Klein's in Washington, D.C. They didn't hire Black people until many years later. You couldn't even go in as a Black person to shop. Once they started hiring, they said, we're going to pay you $1 an hour. My mother noticed every week her paycheck was $38 and not $40 because you're working a 40-hour week. She went into HR, I guess it was HR back then, and she spoke out and continued to. So they did change and increased it the way it should be. But guess what? She didn't stop there. She looked at all the other Black people who were still not getting paid with it, and she forced them to change it for everybody.
Amen.
That disruptive thinker, because her pushing and her saying, wait a minute, if you can't change for me and everybody else, we're going to have to continue to fight. And so I think I have that fight in me, because I think back to, Monique, when I was fourth grade, I was in home economics. People don't know about home economics because they don't have it anymore. But I learned how to crochet and knit. And in fourth grade, I told my parents, my mom, I said, look, you all don't pay me enough allowance, so I'm going to start my own business. So I started Donna's Crocheting Specialties, and get orders from the church members, and I get orders from my mom's, where she worked in government, and from private industry where my relatives worked at. And from fourth grade to 11th grade, I had a thriving business. Like, I ain't even worried about that allowance anymore because I was making so much more. But here's the thing. I was making things out of love, because that's the labor of love when you're crocheting or knitting an item for someone. It takes hours. You're coordinating the yarn and the colors. People don't make things for anybody anymore. Think about it. When was the last time you got something other than food? Right. Made, so it becomes very personable and loving. And at 11th grade, I stopped, because by then, I'm playing sports, I'm dancing, I'm cheerleading, homecoming, all of that. Maybe some boys. Okay, well, we won't talk about that. But years later now, I crochet, but I don't do it for a job. I do it as a hobby of love. And this past, because of these 2 years when we were in the pandemic, a lot of loved ones passed away. So I would crochet an Afghan, let's just call it a blanket, and initial it and put a scripture in there for the person who lost their loved one. Before, all of those Afghans were for people who inspired me, whether it was the president or Oprah or Tyler Perry. But now we were facing a pandemic, a crisis that we had never been in before. And even when we had started the business that I think about, when the pandemic first hit, we had loved ones passing away like right away. We didn't even know what it was all about. And then eventually, during that pandemic, my brother had a stroke. Then he had another stroke. My former husband, Tom, had a stroke. My mother had severe bronchitis. I had a back injury. Then I had a knee injury. Then I couldn't walk. Then I had to learn how to walk again. I mean, it was a lot. Yeah. And you got to have radical faith. Hear me out.
Yeah.
You got radical faith, and you got to have radical fight in you, because that can take you down.
Woo! Radical faith and radical fight.
It's too big for our God. Nothing. So you got to trust in him at all times. And that's what we did. We didn't know where the money was coming from. We ended up getting a loan. We used some of my retirement money, but we just stepped out on faith and took a family recipe to retail, Targets, ShopRites, Amazon, Plum Market, all of these grocery stores. And then we also took it to restaurants. We're at Albernays, the most established, amazing restaurant here in Dallas. And we've been there 1 year. We're the number one item on the menu. We've developed this whole new customer base for them. And now we're talking to other restaurants. And now we're getting ready to launch Mama Laverne's Love Truck. So it took us to just stay focused and get quiet with God so he could direct us and give us the tools we need. But it does say
I can build a team.
Oh, it's hard because we got a small team. We don't have, the capital right now to increase the staff, to increase the marketing and advertising. But I'm applying for grants, applying for more loans, because you make it happen. You don't know. Yes, we've got, we even applied, and I can share this. We applied to Shark Tank, got in the final group, and then we didn't get selected. And yes, I was so upset because they were, stuff like, you all got this, great video, great pitch, all of that. But we didn't get selected. And you have to learn that those no's are lessons and turn those lessons into your experiences that propel you to doing what it is that you're doing. You cannot
get selected this time. I just want to interrupt you and say, didn't get selected this time because that might not be a door.
It wasn't out on there, but you don't go through that period where I can't believe we weren't selected. They pumped us up. Then we weren't. I was upset, girl. I probably was stressed and all that. And I remember going to church because I did fall into like a little depression at one time, but not about that. But I remember going to church and going, God, we did everything. Then we get this no. And after church, I was speaking to the Bishop Jakes, and he was like, what's wrong with you? Because I'm like, and he's like, what's wrong? And I said, well, we applied. And he said, girl, get over it. Right like that. He said, do you know that's your first no? You have been on a roll. Who in, a year gets in retail and restaurants on your own? You have leveraged relationships and started that business from scrap. You have taken something that your mother and you started back when, this started at my grandma's house. When I was a little girl, after church, we went to my grandmother's house, like Soul Food Sunday movie, and we'd have great soul food. Chicken and waffles was the most popular. Once my grandmother passed away, my mother took over, and then she started traveling, just blessing people, never accepted any funds for it, never got paid. And so he's like, you got to get over this, and there'll be more opportunities. So you just have to work smarter, work harder, and make those opportunities happen. And I went, okay. Like I pulled out, I was in a funk. I pulled out of that. He's like, you know how many no's I got when I was in West Virginia, when I was here in Dallas? And I was just, look, I wanted to call out of church. I still remember that. So, but I took it with tough love because I was so thankful that he took the time to tell me that,
Well, and that's our thinking. Yeah. And that's the one thing that I appreciate. Well, it's a million things I appreciate about Bishop Jakes, but one thing that I know for sure, because you were in the middle, he could see you were in the middle of doing what people already thought couldn't be done. Right? You were already on a trajectory that nobody could have configured or planned for you, right? But God, but that's what happens to us. Like we're on far up a mountain and we will feel valley. We will feel valley while we're
and here's the thing, you gotta be able to really like the faith of must see. And this requires you to have like radical change. And I know how John Lewis said, remember he said, oh gosh, he said, there has to be change, but you're causing good trouble to about that change, right? I didn't know anything about the food business. This is being innovative. This is being open and challenging the status quo to what you're trying to do. Because chicken and waffles, we have a package and it's 2-in-1. So it's the seasoning and it's waffle pancake mix. Nobody had done that before.
Right.
So I am years later, the first to be doing the whole, fitness and health as a Black woman. And now here later with my mama, we're the first to be doing something that hasn't been done before. So I can say to people who are watching is you can't give up. You can't give in. I don't care what it takes. Like, I still shuffle around bills. I still have to get volunteers and help out, but I just keep it going. I don't know. We don't have the luxury to quit. So, failure is not an option. No. Be intentional about what it is that you want, and you got to go after it. Yeah. It's passion, it's purpose. And when you keep sowing, that's when the prosperity comes. But you got to sow. This ain't no overnight. This is, yes, I've done a lot in 2 years, but there's so much more to do. And I believe in me, but I believe in God. Yeah. That's number one, that I'm going to make it happen. And I don't have all the answers right now. I can't believe that I would have it all. But surround yourself with good people, smarter people, innovative people, like a Bishop Jakes. There's so many people that can help sow into you. Yeah. And he has a new program for entrepreneurs called Good Soil. He's an entrepreneur. He's helping other entrepreneurs. You don't get here by yourself. It takes a village. I have mentors like Leslie, who has Mama's Biscuits, and Michelle, who has Sarah. These women are Black-owned businesses who've been out there for years. Yeah. But it was me stepping into this food industry. They shared with me and sold into me so that I could have a good start and a good foundation to do what I'm doing right now. And it's funny because people go, how is it possible that the fitness guru now has a chicken and waffle business? Balance all together. But here's where the fitness and health piece does go. If you look at our package, here it is, product right here. But on the back, it will say, not only can you make your chicken, your vegetables, your whole food, your seafood, your fish, and your meat with the seasoning, you can fry it, air fry it, or bake it. Yeah. Health conscious person who's been in the business for 30 years, that's where that was applied. It was saying, you may not eat chicken, but you can eat a chicken substitute, or you can do it with your vegetables or your fish, and then you can cook it in any way you want that is going to satisfy your taste, so it can be unhealthy and then it can be healthy. Well, so that
also, I just think that if we follow the advice and the example you've been setting for us for the past few decades, it was about balance. That also, live a lifestyle a certain way with the things on board that enable us on a Sunday with our family to have some chicken and waffles. And Monday, I'm probably going to be back on spinach.
That sometimes, yes, you should be able to treat yourself to something that isn't as healthy. I'm not going to say it's unhealthy, because we have made it where you can obviously air fry that chicken, which can taste just like fried chicken, right? Or if you didn't want to use the buttermilk, you could substitute it with yogurt and milk. So to your point, when you work hard, and I'm talking about health, when you're trying to get healthy and stay healthy, there has to be a balance. Yes, working out, eating healthy, but you cannot live consistently without being able to have foods that would not be on your regular menu throughout the week or through the weekend. And I don't call it cheat. Let me just be very clear. I've been in this business a long time. When you work that hard, and you said you earn it, when you work that hard, that's your joy meal. That ain't no cheat meal. You earned it. You should enjoy it and be done with it. That almost makes you feel guilty that you have something you love, but yet I was on that treadmill every day, 5 days a week, and you should be able to take that 10 to 20% and eat something that may not be as healthy. That's where the balance comes in. And you may get an extra walk because you are, but we become so extreme in our thinking. It's either this or that. No.
And then you can't maintain it.
No.
You can't maintain it over time. And even if you do maintain it, you're just grouchy. You're not any fun.
Oh my God.
Yes. You never have anything fun.
Oh, Lord, that's a good point. I remember when I was in college and I tried to be a vegetarian. I lasted about 3 months. And I remember my friends were like, you are so grumpy. And I think now I do it sometimes. I have periods where I do it, but I had to change my mindset about it, right? And that, yes, I was eating healthier, but my mind was saying, I don't want to just eat vegetables. Where's my Maryland crab cakes? Where's that nice hamburger that I like? I could still have it, but I had to change. You know how it says transform, renewing of the mind. So I had to take a different look and have a different perspective of how I looked at eating as a vegetarian would eat. And once my thinking, everything else follows. Your actions follow everything else. So everything goes back to here, changing your attitude and changing how you used to think about something and saying, hey, I have to think differently, because if I think differently, I'm going to do differently. And I'm not perfect. Don't try to be perfect. None of that. But I tell you, I just ask God to use me right where I am right now. And when people are out there seeing me, because they've seen so much from, the health and fitness person to marrying to Tom Joyner to having this business, I know all the time I'm being judged, but, it doesn't matter to me. I just think that, you accept me and the journey it took for me to be who I am right now, who I was, think I should be. None of that matters. Like, I am here to serve. And we have a company that helps to eradicate hunger. We donate product. We help to feed those who are homeless. So we are doing good work, and we will continue to. We're building a company that's not just about generational health, because that has to be number one. You won't even be able to enjoy the wealth, but also generational legacy and wealth. And pass my grandmother to my mother to me to the grandkids. And so to me, that is most important. It's not important for me to think about who is trying to figure out what I'm doing and how I'm doing it and who I'm doing it with. Their opinions are irrelevant to what God's plan is for me. It's relevant to what he has for me, and what he has for me, nobody can take.
Yep. And other people's opinions about me are just none of my business. That's their opinions, and they can feel free to keep them.
Yeah. I also have to stop and think, because when you're a public figure, and I always believe to serve people, I have to remind myself to speak and not be offensive, and to listen and not be defensive. And let's preach now. Can I get an amen in there?
All in the chat, amen.
Because we're speaking, and sometimes you have to watch your tongue, as you know. Yeah. And then we're not listening, and we're already being defensive about how we're going to answer. Just listen. Be quiet.
Well, that's why, frankly, Make It Make Sense exists.
Yeah.
For me, member of that pundit and analyst and commentator class, I've been in so many back and forths where even I don't have a clue what the news is, what the information is, what the thought is, and there's not an opportunity, in mainstream media to just have this dialogue like we're having now, where people actually get an in-depth understanding of your life and get all the things they need, the who, the what, the where, the when, the why. You drop so many gems. We've been on here, and I am so thankful that I get to do it, and that we get to have queens like Queen Donna to be on here. I know we're out of time, but I want you to tell us how can we support all things?
Oh my gosh,
all things Donna and Oliver.
Let me just say this: I am so honored to have this conversation with you, because as Black women, we need to support each other more, because when we do, we all win. You win, I win. It's for something greater than ourselves. Remember that. It's not just about Donna. It's not just about Monique. We are here to serve you. And what we are trying to undergird is such a greater and higher purpose that God has for us. So we shouldn't take it as personal, but think of it as we are a village of Black women supporting each other and helping each other to rise and to elevate and to do good and to be good. That's what it's all about. And I've done that for 30 years, being a Black woman in business, and now to have a business with my 83-year-old mama. There is nothing that we can't do as Black women. We have seen everything. I always think of now, like, you continue to sow, right? And from sowing, you serve. You serve with a good heart. You serve with kindness and love and respect. We've gotten away from that. We can be very negative to each other times. Like, I always will compliment another woman when I see her, whether it's from speaking or her looking a certain way, whatever it may be. We have to take the time out to just say, girl, you got it going on. Monique, going on. I'm here to elevate and support you. But so when you sow, you serve, and then you can succeed because you're being successful. I'm being successful. We're helping another Black business, so another Black woman-owned business be successful. And then from that, you soar. And that God just takes over, and sometimes in the middle of all of that, because there's the unknown when you're going through changes, when you're going through a process. I say to myself, I just sometimes feel like in that process where you're not certain, where you're trying to get the answers, but you got to get quiet and listen to God. I kind of feel like I'm a surfer, just riding God's wave, just riding that wave. And that's what it's all about. So I just want to say you are doing an amazing job. I want to continue to support what you do, have conversations that are enlightening, that are empowering, that are educational and energizing our people. But we have to think and do differently. We're in some really interesting times right now. And that's when you think about this whole movement that Bishop has created called disruptive thinking. So I am going to just say thank you again. From
You can find your everything.
Where you can get it. You can go to Target. You can go to ShopRite, Plum Market. We're at Albernays Brunch on Saturdays and Sundays. That's in Dallas. Follow my mama. She got her own page. It's Mama Laverne's with the S on the Laverne's, and then food. And my page is I am Donna Richardson. And, we do give information. I give fitness tips still. She gives tips just about life and experience. She drops some nuggets in there for you every now and then. And what keeps me inspired is her. She cooks, she's dancing, she's doing her thing. And every now and then the music's on Monique, she will not drop it like it's hot, but dip it for the Lord. And it's all good because I can't dip it anymore. I got one of those knees that I got to be careful about. But she down and brought it up and she goes, praises go up, blessings come down. That is inspiring. So I just want to encourage anyone out there, no matter what it is that you're trying to achieve, whatever it is you're trying to accomplish, you can do it. You got to have faith in God and faith in yourself.
Amen.
It is unchanged hand. Things around us will change, but He's consistent. He's bigger than anything out there.
And 100%. Amen. 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 Thank you, Queen. Thank you for coming, and thank you for staying and sharing so much with us. We appreciate you. I can't wait for you to come back again.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. God bless you all and have an amazing day.
All right. Bye-bye. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this because I know I sure did. I'm very thankful for Donna, for everything that she's just meant personally in my own life, and for all of the people that she continues to help. And listen, you can begin again, or you can add on things in the middle. You can be at what people think ought to be the end, where you ought to be getting ready to retire. Just sit down somewhere and you can say, what? For what? I have more to do, more to give. And she represents that to me. And certainly
her sweet mother, just beginning again at 81 and having a new growing, thriving business at 83. It is not miraculous. It is in the doing. It's doable with God and with you. So I hope that you're spurred in your passion and your purpose and your ability to keep going, to be relentless. She left so many gems. I will have to go back and watch and take some notes myself. We have another great show tomorrow. My girl will be in the house. Another queen, Yuri Twelde. We'll be talking all things, just what's happening. She's in second season of a new show that she's co-hosting. She's a judge on. The name of the show is Hot Bench, and we'll be talking about what's going on in the news and just whatever else she wants to share with us. She hasn't been with us in a while, and I miss her terribly. So this will be our catch-up session that you guys get to eavesdrop on. So that'll be tomorrow for Freedom Friday Week in Review. If you would like to support us, please do. You can become a sponsor or do advertising with us by emailing at sales@moniquepressley.com. That's sales@moniquepressley.com. Or you can just give. You can choose to support what we're doing with a generous donation. And that will be at Cash App, $ Monique Pressley TV, or PayPal, paypal.me/Monique Pressley TV. And today's guest was Donna Richardson. You can follow her at I am Donna Richardson. I saw somebody asking that in the chat. We'll be right back here, same time, same bat channel tomorrow. I hope we helped you make something make sense. All right. Bye-bye.